Welcome to the 2022 Golf Summer Series race number 15. Tonight, we're here at the Darlington Raceway for the summer's longest race, the Southern 500. On this Labor Day evening, 38 of the summer's best have come to this unique and challenging racetrack for a final crown jewel in series history. But before we get started, let's take a look at our starting lineup. So on the pole is the 6 of Bradley Reim, and next to him the 10 of Ross McMurrola. Row 2, Trey Smith in the 22, and next to him the 53 of Random J. Row 3, Jordan Stout in the 11, and next to him the 33 of Xavier. Row 4, Nathan Barrett in 87, and next to him the defending series champion and 2020 winner of this race, Hoodlum. Row 5, Dan McBrown in the 99, and last year's Southern 500 winner, Brendan Beal in the 16. Row 6, Nathan Stapleton, and Dis Powell in the 7. Row 7 is the 76 of Noah Clifton, and next to him, Aiden Robertson in the 54. Row 8, Johnny Hernandez and David Johnson. Row 9, Firecracker 400 winner Richard Herman, and next to him, the 23 of Andrew Williams. Row 10, Dan Matteillo and Jason Albert. Row 11, Keisha Argison and Joe T. Row 12, Nick Sant and Ryan Wilson. Row 13 is Matt Fruit in the 13, who has won 2 crown jewels so far this year, including our last run at Bristol. And next to him, his car and our teammate Brendan Carruthers in the 18. Row 14, Lipsy in the number 9, and Kyle Salmon in the 38. Row 15, Owen Miles in the 37, and Gaming Freak in the 28. Row 16, Alex Cass-Stevens in the 12, and Caleb Rose in the 19. Row 17, Riot Roberts in the 42, and RC Gamer in the 1 car. Row 18, Calvin Baker, in 2020 Series champion, and of course won the Rollford earlier this year, and next to him, Matthew Hill in the 90 car. And final row number 19, Roberto Crown in the 31, and point sweeter Jordan Forbes in the 61. And now it's time for a pre-race ceremony, starting with our national anthem. And now, it is time for the starting command here in the Lady in Black.
Drivers, start your engines!
Let's take a look at the track info here for tonight's race. So I'm going to go 78 laps on this 1.3 mile long egg-shaped intermediate with 23 to 25 degrees of banking in the corners. And that's what we're here tonight here in Darlington, 69 degrees Fahrenheit, nice, with 5 miles per hour towards the southeast. And there's here our past 2 Southern 500 winners, Hoodlum in 2020 and Brendan Beal last year in 2021. But with that being said, hope everyone's having a good night here so far. And despite us having less throwbacks and a shorter race compared to previous years, it is still the summer's longest race, it's still one of our biggest races of the year, and it's our final crown jewel in Summer Series history as the pace car comes down pit road with the sellout crowd all on their feet here at Darlington. And here we go, off turn 4, Bradley Reim and Ross McBroom wait to field the green here in the Southern 500. And it's going to be a good start into turn number 1 for the inside. Bradley Reim pulling away from the 10 McMurrow as the ladder nearly got in the wall going into turn number 2. Down the back straight, Bradley moves to the outside, the block McMurrow, leaving it open for Trey Smith in the 22 on the inside before Bradley moves to the middle into turns 3 and 4. You saw Random J peek his nose briefly to the inside of McMurrow as everyone else behind Bradley remains 2 by 2. Coming to complete the first lap here in the Southern 500 is Bradley Reim in the 6 car leading lap number 1, with Trey Smith getting a good run into turn number 1 as he'll be side by side Bradley into turns 1 and 2. Jordan's down the 11 car is also in this mix as he'll be side by side McMurrow for 3rd as Trey Smith had the advantage over Bradley off turn number 2. But down the back straightaway, the 6 car still prevails on the outside as he'll have the advantage over the 22 into turn number 3. Through turns 3 and 4, Bradley's back in the middle while Smith stays committed to the inside as he'll be once again side by side the 6 car off for turn number 4. And coming to complete lap number 2 is Bradley, who barely leads over his affiliate teammate with Random J to 53, tucking right behind the 22 into turn number 1. Bradley nearly smacked the wall that time by, with Trey Smith once again on the advantage off turn number 2 as Random's going to be side by side McMurrow now. Both check down the back straight, the Dodgers and McMurrow will pull away from the rest of the field as Bradley still remains in first and will clear the 22 into turns 3 and 4. Once again, Bradley into turn number 4 goes back to the outside, once again opening the door for Trey Smith as he'll be side by side briefly once again before Bradley once again prevails coming to lap number 4. Meanwhile, in the turns 1 and 2, Smith's going to be side by side McMurrow, where Random J is going to have the advantage over Xavier into 33. And right now, Bradley has a decent gap over the rest of the field as the 22 and 10 remain side by side, with Random trying to tuck into the outside in front of Xavier before moving back down to the inside as the 33 was there. Once again, through turns 3 and 4, McMurrow and Smith are going to be side by side, with Random behind the 22 as once again, here's a good run from Xavier coming to lap number 5. In the 1, McMurrow is going to finally clear the 22 for 2nd as the 22 will tuck into 3rd and Random will tuck into 4th. Meanwhile, Random's teammate Jordan Stout in the 11 car is stuck on the inside as both Xavier and Hoodlum got around him as he'll now be side by side with Brendan Beal into turn number 3. But once again in the 3, Random's going to be side by side with Xavier and Hoodlum in the 88 car briefly in the middle before moving back up to the outside in front of Beal as he'll be side by side with Jordan Stout coming to lap number 6. Of course, both Hoodlum and Beal are former winners of the Southern 500 as one of them's only looking to become the 2nd ever driver in Summer Series history to win the same crown jewel twice. Also in this mix as well, you see this power out in the 7 car behind the 16, as well as Nathan Barrett in 87 and 99 Dan McMurrow. You also see the 2 NS racing cars of Nathan Stapleton and Noah Clifton through turns 3 and 4 as they're side by side. Random actually losing the spot to Xavier as the 53 falls down to 5th. And off turn 4 is going to be Random, who's going to tuck in right in front of Hoodlum on the outside as we come to lap number 7 this time by. Battle for the lead. Here's Ross McBroom looking to the inside. Bradley Reim through turns 1 and 2. I'm not really sure that's going to be a good decision or not, as off turn 2, Bradley holds the ground on the outside, as here's Trey Smith once again, peeking does at the inside the 10 car into turn number 3. Is Smith going to once again look into the inside of McMurrow to turns 3 and 4? Looks like he will, as the 22 is going to force the 10 to the outside, coming to lap number 8 this time by. And yeah, both these drivers have absolutely been at it so far in this race as they've been side by side on multiple occasions. But for now, McMurrow is going to hold his ground on the 22 and keep 2nd place. But I don't think McMurrow wants to keep the 2nd spot for long as he looks to the inside of Bradley off turn number 2. And you see down the back shoulder, Hoodlum tucking it right behind Random, while Stout tucks right behind the 16. But immediately as I say there, here's Beal to the outside of Hoodlum in the turn number 4 before the 16 moves back down to the inside off turn number 4 coming to lap number 9. We're going to see who's going to prevail here into turn number 1 as 18 and 16 are still side by side. It looks like into turn number 2, Hoodlum will have the advantage over the 16 on the outside. After you see Barrett and Powell getting loose off turn number 2, as thankfully both were able to save it, as 87 is going to be side by side with Stout into turn number 3, while Powell is going to be side by side with McMurrow as the 7 car will have the advantage over the 99. And speaking of side by side, once again, here's McMurrow and Smith side by side for 2nd. This time with Xavier into 33 to throw his hand into the ring as we come to lap number 10. Looks like off turn number 2, now down the back shoulder. McMurrow is not only going to hold on to 2nd, but the 22 could possibly fall all the way back down to 5th as he's side by side with Random J into turn number 3. But going back to our top 5, only one of our drivers in this top 5 have even been to 50 lane so far this year, that being Reim back in race number 3 at Texas World, as both Random and Smith haven't won since last year, while both McRoll and Smith have never won a Summer Series race. And the last time we've even had a Crown Jewel produce a first-time winner was during last year's Firecracker 400 with Nelson Reeves. Meanwhile, down the back, should we see a battle for third between Trey Smith and Xavier, while Hold'em final gunner Brendan Beal off turn number 2, as there's still plenty of side-by-side action behind these leaders. And in the case of Dan McMurrow and Andrew Williams, this will be a battle for 16th as we come to lap number 12 this time by. As these drivers in the lower top 10 are all going single file going into turn number 1, as we got a battle for 16 up between Brendan Beal and Jordan Stout. But at the same time, Random's once again side by side with Trey Smith off turn number 2. And we'll check down the back straightaway. Random's going to hold off Smith, while Beal's going to hold off Stout. As now here's Hold'em looking to the inside the 22 into turn number 3. Both Beal and Stout are going to move to the outside, as here's Nathan Baird looking to the inside of Stout off turn number 4, as he'll be side by side coming to lap number 13. Hold'em will tuck back into line in 6 going into turn number 1, as into turn number 2 got another battle for the lead, heating up between McMurrow and Bradley Reim as they're on board the back bumper of the 6 car, as McMurrow is all over his back bumper. Into 3, that was a good entry for Bradley, as McMurrow is going to move to the outside going into turn number 4, as Bradley will take him into the inside as the 10 car moves back down behind the 6 car, coming to lap number 14. And here he is, peeking to the inside of Bradley into turn number 1, as they're going to be side by side once again for the lead. McMurrow got a good run on the inside there, as Bradley's going to smack the wall going into turn number 2. Now, of course, many drivers in this track in the past have hit that wall and gone that iconic Darlington stripe. But in the case of Bradley, I'm going to call that a Darlington yikes, as he could possibly lose the top 5. He's going to know about for the lead, as there's Xavier side by side of McMurrow. Coming to lap number 15 as the 33 and 10 are side by side, with McMurrow barely out front. And as the 10 and 33 remain side by side into turn number 1, let's take a look to what happened with Bradley Reim last time by. So he's racing with McMurrow, but runs out of room and just hits the wall. And pretty much just wall rides all of turn number 2 there. And like I said, I don't really think that was a Darlington stripe, but more of a Darlington yikes, as Bradley fell all the way down to 4th, but is gaining back that ground he lost to the top 3. Coming to lap number 16 this time by, a battle for 5th there between Hold'em and Trey Smith going into turn number 1 this time by, as that 22 is once again on the inside, while Hold'em stays coming to the outside. And looks like off turn number 2, the defending series champion will prevail over the 22 to hold on to 5th once again. But as I said, into turn number 3, here's Brendan Beal side by side with Trey Smith for 7th, as the 2 Dodgers remain side by side into turn number 4. And it looks like off turn number 4, Smith's going to hold on to 6, where Beal's going to be side by side with Stout once again. Also a little bit further back as well, Nathan Baird is side by side with David Johnson for the 11th position, as the 16 and 11 remain side by side. Down the back straight up, Stout will clear Beal for now, as into turn number 3, he'll be side by side with Trey Smith. At the same time as well as the battle for 9th between 2 rookies, this Powell in the 7 and Stapleton on the outside. But off of 4, here comes Stapleton for another good run on the outside, coming to lap number 18, as the 2 will be side by side once again into turn number 1. It looks like into turn number 2, Powell will have the advantage over Stapleton as they come down the back straightaway this time by. But unfortunately for the 7, Stapleton will hold on to 9th, while Powell tucked in front of David Johnson, remaining in 10th. Into turn number 4, you see Nathan Baird once again side by side, this time of Noah Clifton for the 12th position, with 87 having the slight advantage, while David Johnson is side by side with Aiden Robertson for the 14th position. Of course, I can't mention some of the throwbacks we have here tonight, starting with Noah Clifton, as he's throwing back to the Nissan 910 Bluebird from the 1980s, with definitely a very unique number placement for that 76. Meanwhile, Andrew Rowan to the 23s and 16th, trying to recover after a bad race at Bristol, as in front both Clifton and McMurrow remain side by side for the 13th position in the turns 3 and 4. Behind the 23, coming off turn number 4 into lap number 20 this time by, is Jason Albert, the 80 car, who's throwing back to Dale Earnhardt's number 80 Chevy Nova, ran in the 1970s. Behind him is the 54 of Aiden Robertson, as he's side by side with the Tide Rod of Dan Matteillo, as he hits the wall in the 17. Of course, throwing back to Darrell Waltrip's iconic pace game ran in the 1980s. Of course, the Tide Rod's had some history here in Darlington in the past, winning the 2003 Cup race in the springtime with Ricky Craven. Battle for the lead once again. Here's Xavier side by side McRoll, who turns 1 and 2 with a great run for the 33 on the inside. But despite that, once again, McRoll into turn number 2 gets a great run on the outside. Down the back straight, McRoll is going to hold on to the lead for now, as Xavier's going to be side by side with Random J into turn number 3. Of course, Xavier's throwing back to Jeff Gordon's Rainbow Warrior DuPont car from the 1990s, as the Hall of Famer won 3 out of his 4 championships with that paint scheme. But unfortunately, that top by Random got around the 33, as Random's throwing back to Richard Petty's 1984 Firecracker 400 win, which ended up being Richard Petty's 200th and final win. And continuing the trend of iconic drivers being honored here tonight, Reim is throwing back to Buddy Baker's Dodge Daytona from 1969, which fittingly enough was also the number 6. We still got some more throwbacks behind Brad. We're starting with Hood'em with the 88 car, and he's throwing back to Dale Earnhardt's 1980 Wrangler car, the year of his first Cup championship. While Jordan Stout behind him in the 11 car is throwing back to Darrell Waltrip's 1976 and 1980 Gatorade car. While Brendan Beal behind him in the 16 is throwing back to Tony Stewart's 2008 Home Depot car, which of course ended up being the only time the 3-time Cup champion ran a Toyota. Behind him in 8th is Nathan Stapleton in 97, throwing back to Kyle Larson's first Cup win in 2016 at Michigan. Fast forward a little bit to the middle of the field, we come to Keisha Arnson in the 24, who's currently the last car in this top 20, who's not had a good past couple months here in the Summer Series, as fittingly enough, he also came in this race 20th in the point standings. Continuing below the top 20, come to 2 pairs of throwbacks, starting with Joe T in the 8 car, throwing back to Dale Earnhardt's Chevy Nova from 1987. While in front of him, Matt Burnett is throwing back to David Pearson's Chattanooga crew car from 1986. Unfortunately for both Burnett and Joe T, they're running 25th and 26th respectively, despite both of them coming this race inside the top 6 in points. Picking the top drivers in the point standings, see Matthew Hill in the 90 car in 27th, despite coming this race 8th in the point standings after coming off a bad race at Bristol. Behind him is a battle for 28th between Richard Herman and Owen Miles coming to lap number 25, as a Firecracker 400 winner will have the advantage over the 37 going into turn number 1 this time by. Behind Miles is the last car into the top 30, that being Caleb Rose in the 19, also coming off a bad race at Bristol as he fell down to 13th in the point standings. In 31st is Gaming Creek in the 28 car, throwing back to Carol Yarbrough's Busch paint scheme from 1977 to 1980, as a rookie for Nova Scotia came this race all the way back in 28th in the point standings. 32nd is Roberto Crown in the 31, throwing back to Ryan Newman's final win that came at Phoenix in 2017. As a fellow rookie came in this race just behind the 28 in the point standings in 29th. 33rd to come across another big name driver in the point standings, this time being Lipsy in the 9 car, and his throw back to Austin Bill from Dawsonville's Coors paint scheme. Behind him in 34th is RC Gamer in the 1 car, as the second year driver came in this race 30th in the point standings. In 35th is Alex Casteves in the 12 and his throwback to Dale Earnhardt's 1981 Wrangler paint scheme back when Earnhardt drove the number 2 car. Before moving to the number 3 as round goes Caleb Rose in the 19 off turn number 4. Got turned by the 28 Gaming Freak as Ellipses in it, Calvin Baker's in as well. And this will bring out the first caution here tonight at Darlington, as there was heavy right side and rear end damage to the 19. It is unfortunately yet another tough break for that Railfan driver, as it's bounced back and forth between the top 10 and the point standings throughout the entire summer. Meanwhile, coming back to the line this time by is Ross McMillan in the 10 car winning the way, followed by Random J in 2nd and Xavier in the 33 in 3rd. And one thing that's definitely interesting to note is that this is the first time we've had a caution here at Darlington since the 2020 Southern 500, as last year's edition of this race went completely caution-free. And speaking of last year's Southern 500, this is around the time we saw some pit stops, and it's going to be no different here, as pretty much everybody comes down pit road this time by. One thing that's interesting to note is that this pit lane is rather narrow compared to the tracks of the size, which could definitely play a factor during our race off pit road. And here we go, pretty much everyone is officially down pit road this time by, with all the pit crew ready to go and ready for action. And even though we're doing these pit stops under caution, pit road and pit strategy have been a massive factor in deciding this race over the past couple years. In fact, even during our last race at Bristol, the drivers who came down pit road first under caution ended up winning the strategy wheel. And here we go, got drivers like Hood'em, Brendan Beal, and Nathan Stapleton in, with Xavier, Random J, and Mick Roll to follow. So far, it looks like at least everyone's doing some right-side tires, but it appears in the case of mostly everyone, it's going to be a full meal service of 4 tires and gas. And here we go, the race off pit road is going to be Ross McRolla first, followed by Random J, Xavier, Hood'em, Bradley, Reim, your top 5. But anyways, let's take a look at the instant replay to see what caused our first caution here in the summer's longest race. So understarted going into turn number 4 as Caleb Rose is side-by-side of Gaming Creek into 28. So off for turn number 4 here, Gaming Creek gets a great run on the outside, but continues that good run off of 4. It just gets into the 19, sending him into the wall and spinning. With Crown and RC Barrow, avoiding for Lipsy and Calvin Baker slammed the 19, with Baker hitting the hardest. That was a hard hit for the 21 there. Let's go on board with Gaming Creek in the 28 car. Yeah, Gaming Freak got that run on the outside, but there's just no room between him and Rose instead of the 19 spinning. Oh, that was a hard hit for Baker. And speaking of Rich, let's go on board to 21 here. So spin happens right in front of him. Just, oh yeah, nowhere to go almost for the 21. Tough Rick there for the 2020 Series champion. Anyways, under caution for the first time here tonight in the Southern 500, as we'll be right back with you guys after this. Welcome back to the Golf Summer Series here at Darlington. We're about to go back green after the 19 and Caleb Rose made contact with the 28 at Gaming Creek, so then the 19 spinning and also involving the 21 of Calvin Baker and the 9 of Lipsy. Currently, a top 5 is Ross McBrown in the 10 car, followed by Random J in the 53, the 33 of Xavier, 2021 in this race Hoodlum, and Bradley Reim in the 6 car in 5th. And here we go, pace car down pit road as the cars continue to turn number 4. And now come towards the front stretch as we're back in the green here in the Southern 500. And that's a great restart for Random J on the outside as we pull away from the 10 car into turn number 1. But continuing through the turns, McRoll is going to get a good run on the inside as we have the advantage over Random into turn number 2. Down the back straight, McRoll is already back to the point as we move to the outside in front of Random as Xavier is going to get a good run into turn number 3 on the inside. Xavier have the advantage over Random going into turn number 4 as they remain side by side. As we got a car down pit road, is Richard Herman, the 95 car. And similar to our last endurance race in Atlanta, despite Herman coming down pit road during the last caution, there's apparently an issue that 95 team has to address, which is going to be yet another tough break for Herman, as they've yet to fully recover from Atlanta. Meanwhile, off turn number 2, you see McRoll is actually pulling away from the rest of the field, as Random and Xavier remain side by side for second, with Hoodlum right behind those two in 4th. Through turns 3 and 4, Random's going to have the advantage over Xavier, as off of turn 4, Random's going to hold him in the second, as round goes Angie Williams in the front straightaway. He had some contact there from both the 80 of Albert and the 99 of Dan McWorla, as the 22 continues to slide down the front stretch and lightly tap the inside wall, as we're under caution again here at Darlington. It looks like Williams' bad luck will only continue to get worse, as you remember during the last race at Bristol, Williams came in as the points leader, but ended up losing the points lead after being involved in a wreck in that race. Meanwhile, coming off turn number 4 is going to be Random J and McRoll side by side of the line briefly before the 10 once again takes the lead coming to the line. And it looks like that time by Random to be scored in 3rd as Xavier was instead scored in 2nd. But anyways, let's take a look at these 3 inputs who caused our second caution here tonight in the Southern 500. So similar to our first caution, this started going into turns 3 and 4 with McRoll in the middle, nearly 3 wide with Albert on the outside and Williams on the inside. So 99 gets stuck in the middle as Albert gets a great run on the outside, and then off of 4 shoves the 99 into the 23, and additional contact from Albert as well sent the 23 spinning across the front straightaway. But thankfully for Williams, we got pretty minimum damage from that. So going with the 99 McRoll here, and yeah, the 99 essentially just got sandwiched by both the 23 and 80, and with additional help from Albert, ended up sending that 23 around. Anyways, under caution once again here in the Southern 500, as we'll be right back with you guys after this. Welcome back to the Golf Summer Series here for the Southern 500. We're about to go back green where the 99 McRoll and 80 of Jason Albert made contact with the 23 of Andrew Williams and then the 23 car spinning in the front straightaway. Despite this, Williams got pretty minimum damage for the most part. It will continue the rest of the race. Currently at top 3 is the 10 of Ross McRoll, who's led the vast majority of this race so far, followed by the 33 of Xavier and the 53 of Random J. But anyways, as the pace car continues down pit road, the field continues down the front straightaway, and back to the green flag here in the Southern 500. And much like our last restart, the outside is going to get a good start into turn number 1, with Xavier pulling ahead into the 33, but it's not going to be for long, as once again, here's McRoll on the inside for a great run into turn number 2. Here's Nathan Stapleton making a 3 wide off turn number 2, as he forces Beal and Random to the middle. I really hope this field can sort this out as quickly as they can, as especially to track this narrow. 3 wide could be a recipe for disaster, as Stapleton is still 3 wide through turns 3 and 4. Beal is still stuck 3 wide off turn number 4. He makes contact with Hoodham and Stapleton, causing a big wreck here in the front straight away. Oh my goodness, the past 2 Sutter 500 winners of Brendan Beal and Hoodham go spinning here in the front straightaway, with Richard Herman also making contact as well, sending Brandon Carruthers, Kyle Salmon, and many others spinning here in this front stretch once again, as we're under caution for the 3rd time here tonight. There you see the additional damage to Caleb Rose in the 19, as he has heavy front end damage to his Dodge, as he's one of possibly many drivers done here for the night. Once again, that time by Ross Brook in the 10 car led, with Xavier and Random J following in tow, as we're going to take a look at the instant replay to see what caused our biggest wreck here so far tonight. So before we dissect the wreck itself, let's go back to almost a lap before, just after the restart in the turns 1 and 2. So you see Powell making contact with Stapleton, as Stapleton was able to save it in the turn number 2, but at the same time as Stapleton fell back in line, he made it 3 wide off turn number 2, now down the back straightaway. Spiders didn't wreck off of there, but in the turns 3 and 4, here's where things start to get sort of dicey here. Just see Stapleton's all the way below that dash line, trying to separate himself from the 16 of Beal as much as he can, but unfortunately this track just cannot support 3 wide in any shape, form, or capacity, and caused this massive wreck, involving several big-name drivers and favorites here tonight. And you see back there as well, Richard Herman didn't slow down at all. He just rammed in right into the back of the 99 McRow and Braden Carruthers, causing even more drivers to get damage. Let's go on with the back bumper of Hoodlum here. And yeah, there was absolutely no room for anyone to go 3 wide there. But fortunately for the 88 car, didn't get too much damage there. So it looks like we can continue the rest of the race. Let's go on board with Richard Herman now. Yeah, he did not slow down at all despite the wreck happening in front of him, and just rammed into both the 99 and 18, sending both of them spinning and causing even more cars to get damage. And cutting back to our leaders here, as we got more pit stops this time by. And folks passing the halfway point of this race not too long ago, mistakes, especially on pit road, should be kept at an absolute minimum. And as you can see, almost exactly like the last race at Bristol, only a small handful of drivers are coming down pit road, that being the 10, 33, 53, and 97, while everybody else is staying on the racetrack. Meanwhile, I had some drivers coming off of pit road there, but as for these 4 that came down pit road, they're going to restart all the way in the back, possibly next to these lap cars. I see them continuing pit stops, and now the race off pit road of Xavier beating McRoll to the line, followed by Nathan Stapleton and Random J. But anyways, we're under caution once again here at Darlington for this massive wreck in the front straightaway. We'll be right back with you guys after this. Welcome back to the Golf Summer Series here at Darlington. We're about to go back green after a massive wreck occurred in the front straightaway that started with Nathan Stapleton going 3 wide off turn number 4. However, for those drivers that actually were involved during our last caution, they're still out here, and in some cases, they're the leader. Brad Reim, the 6 car, Brendan Beal, this powwow are your top 3, and those are just some of your drivers who were actually involved during our last caution. However, as for the leaders at the time, Ross McRow, Random J, and Xavier, they all 3 came down pit road during our last caution. And here we go, pace car back down pit road as we're back on the green here in the Southern 500. Once again, the outside got a good restart, but Brad Reim's going to respond immediately on the inside as he'll have the advantage over his teammate going into turns 1 and 2. This Powell out in the 7 and Dave Matteillo in the 17 also closely fall behind as he continues down the back straight this time by. Brad is going to move to the outside in front of his teammate and will remain there into turn number 3 this time by. And much like when Bradley was the leader in the early portion of this race, he's going to run the middle through turn 3 and 4 with Brendan Beal almost right up against the wall in the 16. Coming to lap number 45 is Brad Reim, who is the pole sitter back up front here at Darlington. Was ground board Brendan Beal into turn number 2 as he was briefly looking to the inside of his teammate before Bradley comes up to block the 16. And coming off is going to be Bradley smacking the wall again off turn number 2. And Brendan Beal would take advantage as a clear his teammate into turn number 3 for the lead. And that is the second time tonight Bradley hit the wall while Bradley was swimming for the lead. Of course, earlier he hit the wall when he was side by side with Ross McRow for the lead. However, thankfully for the 6 car, it doesn't appear to be as severe as he remains second coming to lap number 46. Well, let's take a look at the replay to see what caused the 6 car to hit the wall again off turn number 2. So he was racing his teammate. But Brado again just runs out of room, hits the wall. However, unlike last time, it doesn't appear to be as severe as he remains in second for now, albeit he is side by side with Trey Smith off turn number 2 still. And speaking of that battle, David Johnson's riding this mix as well into 2 car as he's on the outside of Trey Smith, as Bradley's going to hold on the second for now. And Johnson now side by side with Trey Smith off turn number 4. Coming to lap number 47, the 2 and 22 remain side by side, as here's Johnny Hernandez as well to join this party as well. We still got a lot of side by side action a little further behind as well, as you see Aiden Robertson side by side of Footwell, as well as Brandon Crowder side by side of Keith Anderson, with Jason Albert having the advantage over Matteillo off turn number 2. In the 3, as Johnson tucks into 3rd, it's going to be Smith side by side of Hernandez through turns 3 and 4, with the 46 having the advantage over the 22 off turn number 4. And it looks like coming to lap number 48 is going to be Johnny, who will hold on to 4th for now. Meanwhile, coming back to leader Brendan Beal, who still leads in the 16, but his teammate Bradley Reim is quickly closing in, as last time by he was less than 0.2 of a second behind the 16. Off turn number 2 that time by, that was a great run for Bradley, as he's right behind the back bumper of his teammate. And the same could also be said as well for Johnson Hernandez, as he also gained a lot of ground on the 2 Railfan drivers. In the 4, here's Hernandez looking to the inside of Johnson for 4th, as they're going to be side by side off turn number 4, coming to lap number 49. Johnson got a great run that time by down the straightaway, as he was almost right behind the back bumper of the 6 car. But into turn number 1, here's Hernandez with another good run on the outside, as we have the advantage over the 2 car into turn number 2 this time by. Down the back straightaway, the 2 remain side by side, with Johnson having a slight advantage over Johnny, as at the same time into turn number 3, Bradley is inching close and close to the 16, as he now looks to the side of his teammate into turn number 4. The 2 Railfan drivers remain side by side, coming to lap number 50, with Beal still on the advantage over Bradley going into turn number 1. Into turn number 1, Bradley got a great run on the inside as Beal nearly got in the wall into turn number 2, but despite that still holds his ground as we have the advantage over the 6 car down the back straightaway. Bradley is now going to be side by side of David Johnson into turn number 3, as the 16 will hold on to the lead. Off of turn number 4, coming to lap number 51, is the defending Southern 500 winner, winning yet another lap, as we're on board the 6 car, Bradley Reim into turn number 1 this time by. As you see, they're quickly approaching the lap car. I believe that's Caleb Rose in the 19, which could definitely possibly play a factor for these leaders. Down the back straightaway, you can see how slow that 19 is, as Beal is going to get right past by the 19, as he was going to hold Johnson and Beal behind into turn number 3. And that is the last thing any of these drivers behind Beal want to see, as Bradley and Johnny fortunately get around the 19, while Johnson, everyone else behind him, is still stuck behind Rose, coming to lap number 52. Looks like finally that time by Johnson and Exzel got around the 19 into turn number 1, but there's still plenty of drivers stuck behind Rose, including the 22 of Trey Smith, the 80 of Albert, and the 7 of this powwow. And that list of drivers stuck behind the 19 is going to only grow, as this entire outside lane is stuck behind Caleb Rose. And you see drivers on the inside there are going Miles Nathan Barrett and Nathan Stapleton, trying to ground the 19 as soon as they possibly can, going into turn number 4, as Richard's going to turn powwow into the fence. Jason Albert, Richard Herman, Jordan Stout also involved, as we're under caution yet again here at Darlington. See the heavy damage to the 31 of Roberto Crown, Ross McMorrow, who led earlier in this race, Random J, I believe, also getting a piece of that as well, as it come back up to the front, with Brendan Beal trying to go around another lap car, this being Andrew Jones in the 23. However, thankfully, it doesn't appear to be nearly as slow as the 19, as the 16 will be a leader this time by. And you see the drivers behind the 23 trying to get around him. He's got a massive mess into turn number 1. Hopefully, nothing bad happens here. It looks like, thankfully, most of the leaders were able to get around that, as it appears that Brendan Beal is going to come down pit road this time by. And we're going to have to confirm if that's going to be the case or not, as you look at the damage to some of the other race cars like this powwow, Jordan Stout, Xavier. We had an incident in the turn number 1 there. Nathan Stapleton's car is absolutely destroyed, alongside Nathan Bear, Trey Smith, with additional damage being done to Hoodlum, Aiden Robertson, Nick Sant, and among others. What in the hell happened there? As you see, the 16 is coming down pit road this time by. And similar to our last caution, he's going to be the only leader coming down pit road, as Johnny Hernandez and everyone behind him will stay out. But anyways, let's take a look at the instant replay to see what caused our 4th caution here tonight, as well as the incident under caution in turn number 1. So all just started in the back straightaway when Caleb Rose in the 19, the lap car, was holding up pretty much the entire outside lane. So you're seeing the turn number 3 drivers peeking the nose to the inside, including Jordan Stout as well as Keisha Argison. But instead, the 24 gets stuck in the middle between Powwow and Xavier. Instead, turns the 7 into the fence and caused all this chaos to happen, with Richard Herman and Jordan Stout hard impacts there on the inside wall. Scoreboard of Keisha Argison here. And yeah, I saw that door open in the middle, but there's not enough room again to go 3 wide off 4. Just, my goodness. Violent impact there for the 7. Speaking of which, going to get a closer look of the violent impact for this powwow. Oh my goodness. Powwow's been involved in a lot of accidents this year, and this is definitely going to be one of his worst. And now let's take a look what happened under caution in turn number 1. So here come the leaders, and they see the wrecked cars pretty much not really moving at all. And oh, Nixant just rams the back end of Johnson. And then here come the rest of the cars just stacking up and spending some of them spinning like Hold'em and Matthew Burnett and Owen Miles and the 97 establishing in the worst of it. You see Keisha Hurst and Cass Stevens and Random also get involved in that as well. Just absolutely unbelievable. On board with Matthew Burnett here. And yeah, just went spinning when everyone else came up behind him. But thankfully for Burnett, he didn't get too much damage to his 13. He'll continue the rest of this race as we're under caution once again here in the Southern 500. We'll be right back from you guys after this. Welcome back to the Golf Summer Series here at Darlington. We're about to go back green after our 4th caution here tonight, involving multiple drivers including this powwow, Keisha Richardson, Jordan Stout, among others, as well as for another incident under caution involving other drivers like Nick Sant, Aiden Robertson, David Johnson, and many, many more. Currently, the top 3 is Johnny Hernandez in the 46, Brad Reim in the 6 car, and David Johnson in the 2 car. The leader last time by was Brendan Beal in the 16, who came down pit road during the last caution, and is going to restart all the way towards the back of the pack. And here we go, pace car back down pit road once again, as we're back on the green here at Darlington. Good restart for Johnny Hernandez at the rest of the inside lane, as they'll pull away from the 6 car into turn number 1. In the 2, Johnson's going to force Johnny to the outside, as those two are going to be side by side off for turn number 2. Down the back story, Johnny has a slight advantage over Johnson. What's going to happen this time going into turn number 3, as Johnny gets a great run on the outside, with Johnny still coming into the outside, while Johnson gets a great run into turn number 4 that time by. Now he's got a car down pit road is Jason Albert in the 80 car. Albert did get damaged during the last caution, which could possibly mean that the crew wants to do some more repairs before this race is all said and done, as it's going to be yet another tough break for the 80 team here this summer. Coming back to the field as a team down the back straightaway and going to turn number 3 this time by, it's time for another edition of Golf Summer Series Crank It Up. lap number 67 to 78 here in the Southern 500, as Johnny Hernandez, the leader, gets around the lap car of Caleb Rose, with David Johnson in the 2 car running second, and Bradley Reim in third. As it comes back to the 19 of Rose, who continues to be an obstacle for these leaders, with Aiden Robertson and RC Gamer now struggling to get around the 19. And as these RC cars continue to struggle, here's the rest of the field behind them, with Radford and Nick Saint leading the way through turns 3 and 4. Off of 4, Robertson's going to finally get around the 19 on the inside, as RC continues to remain stuck behind Rose, as Nick Saint and Brendan Beal make contact into turn number 1. Man, that was scary for the 16. Nick Saint went 3 wide in the middle there to try to get around the 19, but instead just sent a heart attack to that 16's pit crew. Let's take a look at the replay here. And yeah, Nick Saint just did not see the 16 at all, but thankfully for both of them, they're able to save it and avoid another accident from happening. But unfortunately, into turn number 3, Rose continues to hold up these drivers on an outside lane, as I still don't understand why GSS officials have yet to park the 19, as Brandon Carruthers starts the back of the pack, makes it 3 wide into turn number 4. As we now got several drivers going 3 wide into turn number 1 just around the 19. This is lap traffic at its absolute worst, and GSS officials need to absolutely do their jobs to keep everyone safe. But thankfully this time around, looks like there's going to be no accident caused by that 19. Yeah, that was just absolutely unbelievable that was even allowed to happen, and really dangerous, especially to a track this narrow. Speaking of lap drivers, see some other solo cars here, including Roberto Crown, the 61 of Jordan Forbes, the 9 of Lipsy, the 95 of Richard Herman, the 23 of Andrew Williams, as well as Jason Albert. As we come back to the top 5 for Brendan Beal, which is going on Matt for Burnett for the 5th position. And yeah, that 16 has been on an absolute roll ever since this restart. Of course, he came down pit road during the last caution, and those fresh Firestone tires are definitely showing, as he got a great run on the inside into turn number 4, as he's now side by side with Robertson for the 4th position, coming to lap number 71. And with only 8 laps to go now, Beal is up to 4th, as during that last lap alone, Beal moved up 2 positions. So despite the 16 last time by being over 2.6 seconds behind the 46, absolutely do not count him out, as that car has been flying these past several laps. And if you're anyone that's at this top 3 right now, I would definitely 100% be concerned where that 16 is at all points, as he could possibly steal the win coming to 7 laps to go. And speaking of gaps, last time by, Johnson trailed Johnny by over 2/10 of a second, while Bradley Reim trailed the 46 by over 7/10 of a second. And as of now, Beal trails Johnny by 2.5 seconds, was able to make up a 10th last time by. And you can see that 16 continuing to inch closer and closer to the rest of his top 3 as he continued to turns 3 and 4. But time is running out for the 16 to catch up to the rest of his top 3 as we come to 6 laps to go this time by here in the Southern 500. What's going on board with David Johnson coming down the straightaway and coming back to the line as he looks to continue to chase down the 46. And looking at the intervals that time by, Beal was able to trim over half a second between him and Johnny, as the gap between Johnny and Beal is just a little over 2 seconds. And I think a question that's good to ponder is, what's Bradley Reim going to do? Of course, he has teammates in fact owns Brendan Beal's car, but he's going to race him like everyone else or let him by. Off for turn number 4 this time by, as we come to 5 laps to go here in the Southern 500. And I would imagine if Beal does indeed catch up to Johnny, he's going to be really aggressive, as the last time Johnny's been to victory lane was last year's Bristol night race, as not having a good season at all, as he came to his race 19th in the point standings. But once again, down the back straightaway, Beal continues to gain more and more ground on this top 3, as he was able to trim over 6/10 of a second last time by. Into turns 3 and 4, Beal got a great run on the outside, as he's going to try going for 3rd on his teammate Bradley Reim. Coming to 4 laps to go this time by, Beal looks to the inside of his teammate as they're side by side for 3rd. Into turns 1 and 2, Beal will clear his teammate for 3rd, as the 16 will continue his march to the front. If you're Johnny and Johnson right now, that 16 getting around the 6 car is bad news, as last time by, Beal was only 7/10 behind the 46. You saw a lap car as well. I believe that was Jason Albert in the 80 car, as he could possibly play a factor in this race for the win, coming to 4 laps to go. Last time by, Beal was less than 6/10 of a second behind Johnny, as the 16 is quickly approaching Johnson. Once again, off turn number 2, Beal gets another good run, as now down the back straightaway, and into turn number 3, he is right behind Johnson. And similar to what he did to his teammate last time by, Beal is going to look to the inside the 2 car through turns 3 and 4 as he come to 2 laps to go this time by. And even though Beal is still side by side with Johnson, he is not too far behind Johnny going into turn number 1 as he'll clear the 2 car this time by. If you're Johnny, you gotta quickly think of something to do here as the 16 gets another good run off turn number 2. We're on board with Brendan Beal down the back straightaway. But we get a good run into turn number 3 this time, but looks like he will. He is right on the back wing for Johnny. He's now looks to the inside of Johnny into turn number 4. Off of 4, Beal will have the advantage over Johnny. He'll clear the 46 off turn number 4, coming to the white flag here at Darlington. Will Johnny have a chance to get him back as Beal continues to sail away through turns 1 and 2? But off turn 2, down the back straightaway, I don't think Johnny's going to get there as Brendan Beal continues to pull away into turn number 3. That 16 has been through absolutely everything here tonight. He's been out front, he's been in the back, he was bumped, he was spun, he had to deal with lap traffic, but none of that matters as coming off turn number 4 for the final time is going to be Brendan Beal, who wins his second straight Southern 500. Congratulations to Brendan Beal and Railfan Motorsports as they are once again the winners here in the Southern 500. Just an absolutely incredible drive for that team here tonight. They've been through hell and back, but still ended up finding a way to win. And if you want to take away anything here from tonight, it's to never give up and keep going. That team has shown it here tonight. But anyways, let's take a look at the finishing results and point standings after tonight's race. So here we go, Brendan Beal finishes first, winning his second race in the last 3 races, as well as having 3 consecutive races, finishing inside the top 5. So an absolutely incredible stretch for Brendan Beal these past 3 races, as if they keep this up, they could possibly sneak their way back into the top 10 points. Meanwhile, a heartbreaking night for Johnny Hernandez as he finishes second, while David Johnson in the 2 car finishes third. Brad Reim in the 6 car gets a much near top 5 finish, finishing 4th, where Aiden Robertson in the 54 car finishes 5th. Another top 10 finish here tonight from Ryan Wilson and Matthew Burnett as they finish 6th and 7th respectively, while Nick Sand finishes 8th in the 20 car. Great finish for Nathan Barrett as he finishes 9th in the 87 car, while his teammate Connor Hoodlum runs off the rest of the top 10. And now for the point standings after race number 15, as we once again got a new leader for the points. This time, Matt Fern in the 13 takes over the points to lead with 447 points, while Jordan Forrest moves down to second in points, won by 16. Defending series champion Holden moves inside the top 3 in points, won by 21, where Andrew Williams falls down another 2 positions, down to 4th, won by 23. Ryan Wilson moves up to 5th in points, won by 29, while David Johnson moves up to 6th in points, won by 33. Richard Herman falls down to 7th in points, won by 34, while Joe T moves down to 8th in points, won by 38. Meanwhile, Nick Sent moves back into the top 10 in points, won by 39, while rounding off the rest of the top 10 is Matthew Hill in the 90 car, now behind by 41. So next up, race number 16, we head to the race that was originally scheduled for June, this being the Rockingham Speedway for the running of the Pop Secret 350, which should be on this channel in the coming days. But as always, y'all, thank you guys for watching this race. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and have a happy and safe Labor Day.